It was a freezing night in Chicago, the kind where the wind cuts through your jacket like it isn't even there. Most people had already rushed home, wrapped in warmth, safe from the biting cold. But on a dimly lit street corner, one man stood still, watching something that didn't feel right. He had no idea that the choice he was about to make would cost him everything he had, and change his life forever. Before we begin, if stories like this move you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Welcome to Kindness Story Hub, where real emotions. Marcus Hill was an ordinary man. 32 years old, working as a delivery driver, living paycheck to paycheck in a small apartment on the south side of the city. Life hadn't been easy for him. His father had passed away years ago, and his mother lived in a care facility he could barely afford. Still, Marcus had something many people lacked: heart. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise, grabbed a cheap cup of coffee, and hit the road. He didn't complain. He didn't expect much. He just kept going. That night, after finishing a long shift, Marcus was heading back to his car when he noticed something unusual across the street. A young woman stood near a bus stop, hugging herself tightly, clearly shivering. Her clothes were thin, completely wrong for the weather. She looked scared, glancing over her shoulder every few seconds. Marcus slowed down. At first, he thought maybe she was just waiting for a ride. But then he saw them. Two men, standing a short distance away, watching her. Not talking. Just watching. Something felt off. Marcus hesitated. This wasn't his business. He was tired, cold, and just wanted to go home. In a city like Chicago, you learn quickly not to get involved in situations that don't concern you. But something inside him wouldn't let him walk away. He took a deep breath and crossed the street. "Hey," he said gently, keeping his voice calm. "You okay?" The woman looked startled at first, then relieved. I think so," she said, her voice shaking. "My phone died. I'm trying to get home." Marcus nodded, glancing briefly at the two men. They hadn't moved, but they were still watching. "You waiting for a bus?" he asked. She shook her head. "No. I was trying to call a rideshare." Marcus paused. His instincts were screaming now. Those men weren't just bystanders. "Listen," he said quietly. "I don't think it's safe for you to stay here. I can give you a ride if you want. No pressure." She hesitated. You could see the conflict in her eyes. Trusting a stranger is never easy, especially at night. But then one of the men took a step closer. That was enough. "Okay," she said quickly. "Yes. Please." Marcus led her to his car, trying not to look nervous. As soon as they got inside, he locked the doors and started the engine. "Where to?" he asked. She gave him an address across town. As Marcus pulled away, he glanced in the mirror. The two men were now walking quickly toward where the car had been. His heart started racing. You did the right thing, he thought to himself. For a few minutes, neither of them spoke. The car was filled with the sound of the heater struggling against the cold. "I'm Emily," she finally said softly. "Marcus," he replied. "Thank you," she added, her voice steadier now. "I don't know what would have happened if you didn't stop." Marcus gave a small smile. "I couldn't just leave you there." Emily looked out the window, then back at him. Most people would've. Those words stuck with him. Most people would've. As they drove, Marcus noticed something else, headlights behind them, following closely. At first, he thought it was nothing. Just another car. But then it turned when he turned. And sped up when he sped up. Marcus's grip tightened on the wheel. "Marcus," Emily said quietly. "I think they're following us." He nodded slowly. "Yeah. I see them." Fear crept into the car like the cold air outside. Marcus had a choice now. He could drive to a police station, but it was far. He could try to lose them, but the streets were empty and wide. Or he could stop and face whatever was coming. But one thing was clear. He couldn't let anything happen to Emily. "Hold on," he said. He suddenly turned down a narrow side street, then another. The car behind them followed. Marcus's heart was pounding now. "Stay calm," he told himself. He spotted a brightly lit gas station up ahead. Perfect. He pulled in quickly, stopping near the entrance where several people stood inside. The car behind them slowed, then stopped at the edge of the lot. For a moment, everything was still. Then the car drove off. Just like that. Marcus exhaled deeply. "They're gone," Emily whispered. "Yeah," he said, though his voice still shook slightly. They sat there in silence for a moment, letting the fear fade. Then Emily turned to him, tears in her eyes. "You didn't just help me," she said. "You saved me." Marcus didn't know what to say. He just nodded. After a short break, they got back on the road. This time, no one followed them. When they finally reached her destination, a quiet neighborhood lined with small homes, Emily turned to him again. "I don't have much," she said, reaching into her bag. "But please, let me give you something." Marcus shook his head immediately. "No. You don't owe me anything." "But." "I mean it," he said gently. "Just get home safe." Emily smiled, a tear slipping down her cheek. "You're a good person, Marcus," she said. He shrugged slightly. "Just doing what anyone should do." She paused, then said something that would stay with him forever. "No," she said softly. "Not anyone. You." She got out of the car and walked toward her house, turning once to wave before going inside. Marcus watched until the door closed. Then he drove away. The next morning, Marcus's life changed. When he arrived at work, his boss called him into the office. "Marcus," he said, not meeting his eyes. "We've got a problem." "Your delivery truck," his boss said. "It was reported stolen last night." Marcus froze. "What?" "GPS shows it was abandoned across town," his boss continued. "Company policy is strict. You're responsible for the vehicle." Marcus's stomach dropped. In the chaos of helping Emily, he had left his delivery truck parked, and someone had taken it. I was helping someone," Marcus said, trying to explain. "She was in danger." His boss sighed. "I understand, but this is a business. We can't ignore something like this." The words hit hard. "I'm sorry, Marcus," he added. "But we have to let you go." Just like that. His job, gone. His only source of income, gone. Marcus walked out of the building in a daze. For the first time in years, he felt lost. Had he made the wrong choice? Had helping someone cost him everything? 3 days later, there was a knock on his apartment door. Marcus opened it slowly. And froze. Emily stood there. But she wasn't alone. Behind her were 2 well-dressed individuals, and a camera crew. "Marcus," Emily said, smiling. "Can we come in?" Confused, he stepped aside. Once inside, one of the men stepped forward. "Marcus Hill," he said. "My name is David Carter. I represent a national foundation that recognizes acts of extraordinary kindness." Marcus blinked. "What?" Emily stepped closer. "I told them everything," she said. "What you did for me, how you risked your safety to protect a complete stranger." Marcus shook his head. "I didn't do anything special." "You did," David said firmly. "And we believe actions like yours deserve recognition." He handed Marcus a folder. Inside was something Marcus never expected. A check. For $100,000. Marcus's hand started shaking. This isn't real," he whispered. "It is," Emily said, smiling through tears. "And there's more." David nodded. "We've also partnered with a logistics company willing to offer you a new position, with better pay and stability." Marcus couldn't speak. Everything he had lost was being returned and multiplied. All because he chose kindness. "I don't understand," he said finally. Emily smiled softly. "You helped me when you had nothing to gain," she said. "Now it's our turn." That day changed Marcus forever. Not because of the money. Not because of the job. But because it proved something he had always believed deep down. Kindness matters. Even when it's hard. Even when it costs you. Even when no one is watching. Because sometimes, the smallest act of courage can create the biggest ripple. And sometimes, it comes back in ways you never imagined.